Hey beautiful people, I'm Gabby and this is So Quaint. On today's episode, I'm going to be sharing 10 tips that will help you to market your sewing business so that you can get your first sales, customers, and orders. On this channel, I share sewing tips and tutorials on a weekly basis, and if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button so you can be a part of the So Quaint tribe. Turn on your notifications so that you can be notified whenever I post a new video. The first thing that you want to do is to take photos and make videos of your products. If people don't know what your products look like, they won't be able to make a decision as to whether they want to buy it or not. So, given that we are talking specifically about sewing and handmade businesses, you want to make sure that you are photographing your products on a flat surface or on a background that complements it. And most importantly, you want to make sure that you have your products being photographed on models. So flat lay pictures will not be enough because that is just going to show them what the product looks like. But you want to be able to show what it looks like on the person, because when it comes to clothing, people will want to know what it fits like. How does it fit the curves? How does it fit the parts of the body that it sits on? You also want to take photos on models to make sure that you are creating a picture in your prospective customer's mind of what your product will look like on them. So if you make bracelets or earrings, of course you want to take pictures of them on a model. What's also important is making videos of your products, because we live in a day and age where people not only get a feel of something based on a photo, because of course a photo can say 1,000 words. However, a video is a lot more engaging. So you want to show the front, the back, the side of your product. You want to show what it looks like when someone is sitting in it, when they're walking in it. If you are making activewear, then you want to show what it's like for the person to swim in it, to run in it, based on the item that you are creating. But you just want to have as much visual representation of your product as possible, because this is going to make it possible for you to then create content and market your product, which is exactly what you are here to learn how to do. When I just started my business, I did lots of flat lay photos. And just to clarify, flat lay photos are photos that you would put your products on a flat surface and then style around your product and take a picture. I also took lots of pictures of myself wearing the products, and while that was great, I can say for sure that if I took more photos with models or other people, that would have possibly gotten more people wanting to buy my products. What you will notice in today's society is that people resonate with other people who look like them. So if your audience is people of a certain size, shape, or color, you want to make sure that you are having your products represented on those types of people. If your audience is children, of course you want to have children being photographed in your products. And you want to make this a priority because it's going to play such a huge role in your marketing, because whoever you show in your photos is who you're ultimately going to end up talking to. They are going to resonate with your photos or your product far more than somebody who has never seen themselves photographed in that product. Instagram Reels, TikTok videos, YouTube Shorts are very popular in today's day and age. And that is the reason why you also want to make sure that you have videos being captured of your products. The benefit of having pictures and videos is that you have a wide variety of content that you can share that will appeal to people's senses in different ways. Step 2 is to give them a name and descriptions. And you need to make sure that you save these in a safe place. For example, in your notes, on your Google Drive, in your Google Docs. Go as far as printing them out. Have them somewhere on your phone, on your laptop, on your iPad. Whatever gadget it is that you use, you want to make sure that you have all of these things stored, so whenever you need them to update your website or your social media platforms, you have them and you know exactly where to find them. But the reason why I mentioned giving them a name and description is because you give them more character. For example, I have a backpack that's called the Motherland backpack. When my prospective customers are reaching out to me, they can say, I want to purchase the Motherland backpack. Instead of it just being a case where they're asking about the backpack that has this shape with this thing right here, with this color, you know, you want to be able to give it something that they can use to refer to it. Another beautiful thing about giving them a name is that you can give it a personality. When you give it a personality, it almost makes it a lot more fun, and you can get really creative with names. You can have your names being themed, perhaps to nature, perhaps to countries, perhaps to foods or different actions. You can get really creative with this. These names are going to come in handy when it's time to add your products to your website, because imagine posting a skirt that you don't have a name for. You're just gonna have to say like blue skirt or flared skirt. It's just so flat, and you want your brand to just stand out to people and feel like, wow, I'm having an experience here. As it relates to descriptions, those also come in handy for your website. Descriptions are pretty much where you talk about your product, you talk about the way that it will make the person feel or the way that you intend for them to feel. You talk about the materials that you use, you talk about how it was made, how to care for it, the dimensions. You can add a size chart. This will essentially help people to dive deeper and know more about your product. When you go online and you are shopping, every single product that you click on has a description. It might not be the greatest description at all times, but most products have a description, and they're actually very much required on the platforms that you will be selling them on. If you want to save yourself a lot of time, you can create as many descriptions as possible at once, so that way you don't have to be creating a new description every time that you are putting another product on your website, unless of course it's a new product. The third thing that you want to do is to create an online store. Now you have options where this is concerned. You can use Etsy, or you can use independent platforms like Squarespace or Shopify. In my experience, it's good to have both Etsy and one of those that I spoke about. I have personally been using Shopify since 2018. However, I have used Etsy as well, and I'm currently using Etsy right now. I tried to use Squarespace, but to me, they just weren't as user-friendly as I would have liked for them to be. So I've been using Shopify ever since, and I have several videos here on my channel showing you how to create a Shopify store. I think that Shopify is very user-friendly, and no, they're not sponsoring this video, even though I would love if they do. But the reason why you want to have an independent website such as Shopify or Squarespace is that they can allow you to have your own unique domain name. So your domain name would be your .com essentially. So my domain name is soquaint.com, and I was able to purchase that on GoDaddy. That's something that you're gonna have to do when you're setting up a website. So check out my video where I show you how to set up your own website. Once you have your website, you can go ahead and start adding your products, and you'll be able to direct your customers to that website, and that will be an easy way for you to process your orders. If you are not able to afford a platform like Squarespace or Shopify just yet, you can always just open an Etsy shop. Etsy shops are very easy to open, and you don't have to pay a big fee like these other platforms. But the thing about Etsy is that they do take a listing fee. It's not very big at all, and you will have lots of competition there. But the upside of that is that it's already a marketplace and people are already shopping there. So if they want to buy a custom t-shirt or a custom backpack or a custom whatever it is that you make, and you have your product there on Etsy, they can type that into the search bar and they will see all the options come up. So if your description and your title and your photos and your SEO are good enough, then you will come up as one of the options there on Etsy. The only problem though is that you will also come up with lots of other people who make the same thing, and if the customer thinks that their product is better, then they might just buy that product. But if you have a really great product, then you stand an awesome chance. In comparison to a website, you don't have any traffic going to that website unless you send it there. So you will have to direct your audience there. You'll have to say, hey, go to my website. And that's literally one of the only ways to get people there. Other than, actually, let me not say that. What I should really say is that can be tedious at times because it's not something that people are already looking for. If you really want to show up on Google, for example, you would have to have exceptional SEO, you would have to have high traffic, and you would have to position your products in such a way where people feel like they want to click on your link. When you are looking for anything on Google, you will always see certain websites come up at the top, and that's because they have really great SEO. Sometimes they also pay for ads, and that makes it possible for them to come up at the top. So that's something else that you can do if you want your website to come up at the top, but just think about those things. And that's why it's good to have a mixture of both Etsy and an independent platform like Shopify or Squarespace. Those will give you more freedom to design your website the way how you want it to look as well. You can have a theme, you can add your colors, you can add your branding. But with Etsy, you just have to work with how their platform already is. And the only real creativity that you have with Etsy is your photos and the name of your business. I must warn you though, if you are going to use Etsy, don't be surprised if you end up in a situation where your shop gets suspended. That is something that's happened to a lot of business owners, and it's very disheartening, very discouraging when you are making sales and you're ready to cash out, you're ready to get your payout, and then Etsy is just like, hey, you have to submit this document before you can get a payment. You can't get your money until XYZ time. So think about that. If you're not able to do this, another alternative is to use an invoice app such as Tiny Invoice. There are lots of different invoice apps out there, but I've been using Tiny Invoice for the longest time, and that's why I can recommend them. This isn't always convenient because if you have to send a customer an invoice before you can get a sale, sometimes that can be restricting because you just want to get the sale out there, and a website makes that possible. A website makes it so that you can make money in your sleep. But with an invoice system, you have to be able to send the person the invoice first. And that can come in handy at times because maybe you don't necessarily want people to be buying your products that freely. Sometimes you might want to control the amount of orders that you get, and that is one of the ways that it can come in handy. Tiny Invoice is also free, so that means it's very cost effective if you're just starting out your business. I started without a website. I just used Tiny Invoice to send invoices to my customers. In fact, I used Excel to send invoices to my customers, and they looked very ancient, but it still got the job done. The reason why you want to do this is so that your customers can have a record of the products that you are selling to them, and you want to have a record as well. The fourth thing that you want to do is to create content. And this might sound a lot like the first one, which is where I told you to take pictures and make videos, but it's very different. Creating content entails editing your photos, editing your videos, and writing copy. Copy is pretty much the words that you are going to add to the content that you're posting that's going to persuade people to take some form of action. So if you have 20 photos of your products, you want to narrow them down to the ones that are the most important. And then once you do that, you want to edit them to look a certain way. If you want your brand to have a warm vibe, or you want it to have a black and white vibe, or you want it to be very colorful, those things will require different editing techniques. So you want to go ahead and edit your photos, and then you want to edit your videos. You can use platforms like InShot, you can use CapCut. For editing pictures, you can use Lightroom, Canva, or you can use your iPhone photo gallery. I don't know as much about how to edit a photo on an Android, but I'm sure that there are platforms that you can utilize to edit your photos on your Android. If you want to take it a step further, then you can edit on your iPad or your laptop. The reason why I suggest editing is to make make sure that you have your products looking as beautiful as possible. You want to punch them up, make them look sharp and nice and digestible, and you want your customers to be impressed when they see your pictures. When you're editing videos, you want to edit them in such a way where they will catch your audience's attention and keep it on your video. So short videos tend to be better when it comes to promoting products, and videos that showcase your things or your products in people's lives, how it will blend in, how it will benefit them, how they will feel wearing your things. Find businesses on social media that you admire and use their content as inspiration. If you notice that they have content that's doing well, you can take that as inspiration and create your own unique twist to that content with your products and post that. However, before you post, you want to make sure that you have some good copy. And I had to learn how to write good copy in order to make my business thrive. If I never knew how to write good copy, I would not be able to get people to buy from me. And a big part of writing good copy is persuasion. Being able to persuade people to buy your products. Being good with words, being able to portray an image in people's minds in addition to the image and video that you're already posting. When I was learning how to do this, I joined newsletters, I did research, I watched YouTube videos, and I looked at other reputable brands' copies, and I was able to use that to create my own copy style. So if you look at captions, you will notice that brands have specific ways that they speak. They have a certain audience that they talk to, and as a result, they have to make sure that they use words and phrases and vibes that fit that audience. The last thing you want to do is to have mismatched messaging. So if your audience is older people, but you're using hip language or young language, you can't expect to attract that older audience. Step 5 is to create a social media account on your preferred platform or platforms. If you like Instagram, then go ahead and create an Instagram account. If you like TikTok or Facebook, create accounts on those platforms. But you want to make sure that you are thinking about your ideal audience. So like I said earlier, if you are trying to attract an older audience, using young people kind of tactics or young people kind of language, it's going to be hard. So it's the same thing with your social media platform. If you are attracting a more family-oriented or an older, more mature audience, then Facebook is going to be one of your main places to post. If you want to attract a younger audience that has a shorter attention span, probably children and teenagers and young adults, then TikTok is a great place to make your content. If you want to attract kind of everybody in between and also a more elite kind of crowd, then Instagram is going to be an ideal social media platform for you. Now, if you want to take it a step further, you can have an account on all of these platforms, because what this is going to do is make it so that you can reach as many people as possible. When you create your social media account on these platforms, you want to go ahead and make sure that you have some photos posted. In addition to that, you want to follow your ideal audience. So find some of your competitors or inspirations, people who do the same thing as you, people who make the same style of clothing as you. Check out their comments, engage with their followers, follow some of their followers, and if you have friends and family that would be interested in your products, you want to follow their accounts as well. However, if you feel shy and you don't want them to know that you're doing this entire thing, or you don't want to feel their judgment, even though I really think that's something you should not be worried about, then just don't follow them. In fact, you can go as far as blocking them if that will make you feel more comfortable posting your content. Because I know sometimes when you start out this entire social media journey, it can feel hard to put yourself out there because you're thinking that the people who you know are going to be judging you. But I can tell you this for sure. It's better if you just be cringe and do your thing and be judged by the people who you fear being judged by than to hold back on the content and the work that you want to put out there. Because at the end of the day, the success that you're going to receive is far more important than what anyone could possibly have to say about you. A few more tips on creating a social media account. You want to make sure that you have a name that is going to be easy to say, easy to search, and easy to share. So you want to have a handle that doesn't have a lot of underscores in it, a lot of full stops, a lot of words. Keep it as simple as possible. So for me, my handle is So Quaint across all of my platforms. I think it would be really cumbersome if you're trying to promote your brand out there in public and you have to be saying some handle or some name that has like 5-6 syllables. That's gonna be hard for people to remember off the top of their head, and it's going to be just a lot to say. It's a mouthful. So try to keep your Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook handles. When I say handles, I mean the at, what comes after the at symbol. Try to keep that as simple as possible. Create an impactful bio that's going to make it so that people know where to go and buy your products. So you want to put your website in your bio. Perhaps you can put a short description of what your product or service is. And for your profile picture, you want to make sure that it represents your brand. So whether it's going to be your logo or a photo of one of your products, or maybe even a photo of you. When you start following people, they might find it strange if you have 0 photos on your page. So it can be a good practice to have at least 3 to 6 photos on your page before you actually start following people. But if you start following people before that, don't be surprised if they don't follow you back, because they don't even know what your account is about in the first place. Speaking of account, make sure that your account is public and not private, because people cannot follow a private business account if they don't know what it's about. The 6th thing that you want to do is to actually post your content. So now you have your pictures, you have your website, you have your description, you've created a social media account, you have all of the things that you need to now start promoting. And the reason why I spoke about creating a website before we even got to this point is because if you are marketing a product and you don't have somewhere to send your customers to in order to get more information, you're going to look like you're not serious about business. You want to position yourself in a way that is professional before you even know that your business is going to work or not. This will make people feel more persuaded to do business with you. When you have a .com or a link to go to a shop in your bio or in your caption, people are going to feel a lot more encouraged. They're going to trust you a lot more because clearly you took the time out to work on your business and your brand. And that's something that people love to see. At this point, you want to come up with an aesthetic for your brand. And I want you to start thinking of it as a brand, because it is a brand. And the more you put yourself out there and the more you help people to identify your products, your services, and your vibe, is the more you will feel like this is an identity. You want to take on your brand like an identity. And I'm going to speak about that in the last point in this video. So stick around for that. Also, if you're liking these tips so far, give this video a thumbs up and share it with a sewing friend who wants to know how to market their sewing business. Back on the point of creating an aesthetic, you want to make sure that you come up with a style for your brand. There are many different ways that you can create an aesthetic on a social media platform. There are lots of different grid styles that you can employ specifically on Instagram, and I will put them here on the screen so that you can see all of them. So there's a checkered style, there's a diagonal style, there is the style that goes down in rows, and there's also the style where you can employ a specific editing preset for all of your pictures. So maybe they all look dark, or maybe they all look warm, maybe they all look vibrant and saturated. Maybe your theme is green, so every photo that you post on your feed has green in it somehow. I feel like having an aesthetic Instagram feed is still important, and not just Instagram. Actually, to be fair, TikTok TikTok and Facebook don't require the same level of aesthetics as Instagram does. But what I find is that when you have an aesthetic Instagram account, it almost makes people feel like they have to follow. Even if your content is not the greatest, just because of how beautiful your feed looks, they just want to support you. On my Quaint Bags page, I have red, yellow, and green as my brand colors. And when you look at the pictures on my feed, you will see lots of green. Like I said earlier, you want to use your competitors or inspirations as inspiration. You want to look at how they are posting on their feed and emulate them in your own special way. Of course, there are brands and pages that don't even prioritize aesthetics, but I feel like as a new brand or a new business or somebody that's putting yourself out there, it really doesn't hurt to try to go the extra mile where design is concerned, because you want to appeal to people's visual senses. You want them to feel captivated by what they're looking at. Another big thing is to use trending audios. Trending audios are pretty much a thing on every single platform. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Trending audios are important on all of them. There are cases where you can still attract a lot of people without a trending audio, but when you're just starting out, trending audios will be your best chance at getting discovered. When you use a trending audio, that will put you on the page for that audio and make it so that anyone looking through that audio or having that audio come up on their page will see your content. A huge tip is to edit your video to the beat of the music. So if the beat drops, you want to have your picture or your video change. Every time the beat drops, you want to change the scene. People have short attention spans these days, so you want to make your content captivating enough to keep them watching for as long as possible. Because the longer that these platforms see that people are watching your content, the more they're going to recommend it to other people. And that is how you can go viral. That's how your account can grow. That is how you can get orders. You want to make sure that you are engaging with other people in your community. So engage with other accounts that sew, other businesses that sew. Engage with people who might be interested in what you are selling. Respond to comments. If people comment and say, "This looks so beautiful," respond to their comments. You can go as far as sending them a DM to promote your product if you would like to. You also want to make sure that you are answering comments from people who are interested in your products. So when you post something and they comment and say, "How much is this? How can I order this? This is so beautiful," you want to go ahead and engage with those people, answer their questions, and if you get DMs from people who want to buy your things, even if they're not ready to buy right now, you want to answer those DMs with a quickness, because that right there is a seed that's being planted. It may not bear fruit right away, but you are still nurturing it. And eventually, it will give you the results that you want, which is a sale. The next thing is that you want to add a CTA to all of the content that you post. A CTA is a call to action. And this is where you will tell them to go to your website, to send you an email, to call you on this number, to leave a comment, to share, to follow, to like, to whatever it is that you want them to do. You want to add that to the end of your caption or in the first comment once you have made your post. This is going to help you to literally direct your audience to what you want them to do, because you would like to think, okay, like this person knows what to do. If they're interested, they know that they should click on the link in my bio, but that's not always the case. Sometimes people are just looking at your things in admiration. They're not clear as to whether or not you're selling. They're not clear as to how to order from you. So you literally have to give them the prompt to actually take action. And that is where CTAs come in handy. This is where your website or your Etsy shop is going to be very important, because you'll be able to send them to a place where they can actually shop your products or your services. The final thing on this point is to post consistently. Consistency doesn't have to be every single day. It could be 3 days out of the week on the same days every single week. It could be 5 days out of the week on the same day every single week. And it could also be every single day. It could be twice a day. In fact, when you're starting out, you benefit from posting more rather than posting less. The more you post, the more you give yourself an opportunity to be discovered by people who actually want to buy from you. Once you start to pick up some traction, you can post less. So perhaps you're posting twice a day at first, and then you start to post like once a day when things start to pick up. When they start to go really well, you can post probably just a few times out of the week, because that will be enough to sustain your brand. If you're lucky enough, you'll get a viral post that will literally bring in customers to your brand for weeks on end. That is very much possible. Sometimes it seems like a stroke of luck, and I do feel like it's a stroke of luck, but I also feel like it's a combination of being prepared, having good copy, having good content, posting at the right time with the right product, and therefore having the Instagram algorithm or whichever algorithm you're working with work in your favor and literally just push that content out to as many people as possible. Social media is literally one of the best ways that you can market your business these days. Step number 7 is to reach out to influencers. This is so that you can collaborate. Collaboration is a very important thing when it comes to working in the fashion space, because they can help you to reach a wider audience. There are only so many people that you can reach on your own and have those people trust you enough to buy something from you. But when you work with an influencer, that will help them to tap into their audience with your product, and that's going to send their audience over to your platform or over to your page to buy your product if your product is good enough and actually matches their interest. That is a very important point, because if you work with an influencer who has an audience that is not your type at all, you are wasting your time. If your ideal audience is people who do a certain sport and that's the type of clothing that you make, then you'd be wasting your time if you reach out to somebody who doesn't even play that sport. So reach out to influencers who are perfectly in alignment with the product that you are making. Also, you want to check to make sure that the influencer that you're going to be working with has a good engagement rate. Make sure that they don't have any fake followers. If they have 100,000 followers but they're only getting like 2,000 views on their videos or like 100 likes, chances are they bought some followers, and you'd be wasting your time sending them a free product or paying them to promote your product when they don't even have a real audience to begin with. It's very important that you also form a relationship with them, because if you form a relationship with them, then they will represent your brand and product in a much better way. A step further than getting an influencer is to get brand ambassadors, people who are just always promoting your products and they have a sizable audience to promote it to. This can come in very handy because it will be another way that you can keep sales and orders coming into your business on a continuous basis. This might be something that you won't be able to do on your own, and so if you can have other people come in to help you, that benefits you a lot. The 8th step is to use guerrilla marketing, and that sounds crazy, right? Like, what is guerrilla marketing? Guerrilla marketing is basically word of mouth, or where you go out there and you actually promote your product, like face to face, no social media kind of involvement. So in this instance, you would go to functions and different events and wear your own products. That's the biggest thing as a fashion designer. If you're trying to build your sewing business and get people to buy, you have to wear your own products. You can't be a fashion designer and not wear the things that you make, because how are people even going to know that you're a fashion designer? It shouldn't be a case where you have to whip out your phone to show them a picture because you don't even have on one of your items of clothing. That's something that I employed when I started my business. I wore my own clothing all the time. I also made sure that I had business cards that I could hand out to people. So whenever they said to me, "Oh, I love your outfit," I would say, "I made it." And they would inevitably ask, "How can I get one?" And that's where I would give them a business card. If you want to take it a step further, you can also print flyers and hand these out. I don't know how effective flyers really are. I've handed those out before and they never really worked. But I feel like a business card is a lot more lasting than a flyer, because people tend to throw flyers away. People tend to overlook flyers, but a business card, they'll probably put that in their purse or wallet and keep that. And whenever they need to reach out to you, they will reach out to you. You can even print t-shirts for your business. So if you're not going to be wearing an entire outfit that you made, you could have a t-shirt that has your brand logo, your Instagram name, your phone number if you feel like it, or a QR code on the back of your shirt that you can have as a walking business card essentially. So if you don't have physical business cards to hand out, you can just say, hey, follow this Instagram that's on the back of my shirt, or scan this QR code and it will take you to my website. Those are things that help a lot, because if you're on the road a lot anyway, then it's an opportunity to also promote yourself. This especially comes in handy when you're out at events. Maybe you go to a fashion show or a party or a link up or just a social event overall that has people who are your ideal audience. That will be a great way for you to stand out and to promote yourself. That pretty much sums up guerrilla marketing. The ninth thing that you want to do once you have actually gotten interest in your products is to respond to all your prospective customers. Your prospective customers are pretty much people who will possibly end up buying from you in the future. If you take a long time to respond to them, they won't be able to sustain that initial interest that they had. So you want to respond to their DMs, respond to their emails, respond to their comments, and that is where customer service is going to come in very handy. You will need to know how to talk to your customers. You need to know how to direct them to your website, and there is lots of research information out there that you can access to learn how to do that. I had to do so much research to become a good salesperson. I didn't become like this overnight. I had to learn it over a series of years. It doesn't have to take you that long, but if you're really committed to growing a business, that's something that you can actually look into, learning how to be a good salesperson. But doing this and following through with your customers consistently will help you to secure the bag. And that right there is the goal. The 10th and final thing that you want to do is get photos of your customers wearing your products. After you have successfully secured the bag, your customer is gonna wear your product. You wanna make sure that you are getting photos of them wearing your product. You're gonna say, hey, once you wear this, can you take a picture? Can you make a video? You can even go as far as getting reviews. You could have them put these reviews on Etsy, on your website, and that is going to be pretty much representation from other people of the fact that your brand and your clothing and your service is good enough to actually support. Because when you are shopping on Amazon or any website for that matter, you want to see reviews. You want to see how other people are experiencing this product before you actually buy. And for some reason, that just makes it feel easier to trust the brand than when it's just them talking about their own products. The beautiful thing about getting photos as well is that you can use these to post back in your content. When you're posting on social media again, you get to post your customers in videos and photos wearing your things. That will give you not only content that you didn't have to create yourself, but it will give you more dynamics to your page, to your content, to your platforms. It will make more people feel like, this seems like a good brand, because if she's wearing it and she looks that good, then I can look that good too. Because let's face it, people like to see other people doing something before they do it. Because we live in a world where it's not always easy to trust people, especially new businesses. And so when you create trust in your prospective customers, they are that much more likely to actually support you. If these points were helpful for you, then give this video a thumbs up and watch this playlist next, where I share lots of different information with you about starting a sewing journey. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.